stand the flip-flop by. Got a special guest with me today. Going to be talking to the next governor of Ohio, Mrs. Heather Hill. I'm one of her senior advisors, so you're going to find out that I'm biased, and that's just the way it is. But what you're also going to see is what her passion and commitment to this state is. What she believes, and that she lives that belief every day. There's a difference because she is not a typical politician because she's not a professional. She's grassroots. So, folks, we're going to get you to give a listen to her. We've got a few questions, and hopefully we'll keep the interview nice and lively for you, because I only got her for an hour, so I better get shutting up, huh? Heather, please introduce yourself and tell us how you came to become a candidate for governor.
Well, thank you so much, Larry, for not only being part of my campaign, but for allowing me to speak on your podcast today and giving me a voice. I'm not your typical politician. I'm a wife, a military mom, a foster parent, and an entrepreneur. But more importantly, I'm someone that shares your values, your struggles, and your dreams for a better future. I am running because Ohio needs a leader who understands what it's like to fight, to serve, and to work hard for everyday Americans like you and me. You know, I grew up in Appalachia where family, faith, and hard work were a way of life. At 16, I worked at McDonald's to help my family while earning my nursing tech certificate from Morgan High School. I graduated and put myself through college, starting at Columbus State, and then pursuing my bachelor's degree from Ohio University. Nothing was handed to me. Like many of you, I had to work for it. So for the last 30 years, I've been married to my high school sweetheart, Darren, and together we have raised two of our own children and opened our hearts and home to foster children that needed a safe place to live. And today we live on our family farm, on a 100-acre farm in a log cabin like Winnie the Pooh. I used to tell my students that. But yeah, you know, I'm just a regular everyday Ohioan, Appalachian little girl from Appalachia, Ohio.
Well, I'm sure you're going to agree with me that those are a set of fresh eyes, and pretty eyes at that you're carrying. And fresh eyes is what Columbus needs, okay? They need some leadership. They need to get away from the semblance of the good old boys network. Their time has come and gone way by. Now,
absolutely.
I'm not a big interviewer into politics, so I'm learning. You're going to be the first female governor and first woman of color as governor of Ohio when you win.
Yes, I am. I will be the first elected female governor in Ohio and the first Black female governor in the United States of America. So It's an honor to represent both, you know, women and Black women. But more importantly, I am the most qualified for the job. If you look at my resume, comparing it to everyone else that's running for governor, I am above and beyond more than qualified to run Ohio. And I believe 100% that I'm the best choice. Not only do I want to win this election, but I want to be the best governor that Ohio has ever had.
Amen. Then that brings up the point to the next question. A good governor needs a good lieutenant governor. Could you tell us about your lieutenant governor pick, please?
My lieutenant governor pick is Stuart Moats. He is a retired major from the Air Force. He is a business owner. He is also a military father. He has both of his children that are in the military now, serving in the Air Force. And just a wonderful Christian conservative man that I know has Ohio's best interests at heart. You know, I interviewed over 10 people before I considered exactly who I wanted to be beside me and run beside me. And that was definitely Stuart. He was my first pick. And I think he's going to do a great job. Like I said, he's a Christian conservative. He does a prison ministry. He definitely has a heart for helping the community.
Yeah. So, lost my train of thought there for just a second. Stewart is also a reality TV star, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He has a show called Unstable Lumberjacks, and it's really interesting. And I think you can find it on YouTube.
We're going to get that out there. Give out a cheap plug for Lieutenant Governor Moats. Glad to.
Thank
All right,
you.
Heather, let's move on to probably going to be the biggest issue besides yourself on the ballot here coming up in May. People are fed up. They are fed to flip up right up to here with property taxes.
Yes.
I believe with all my heart this is what's going to drive people to the polls. We know historically, all right, that conservatives really don't turn out for primaries. But property tax being an issue and gaining support, and Heather, I would venture to say they're probably going to get the signatures that they need.
Absolutely. Stuart and I have both been helping with collecting signatures. We have been, as you know, I've been running for close to 2 years now. My campaign was the first to announce back in November of 2024, and right away I got on board with the property tax initiative. I believe 100% that we need to abolish property taxes. I believe they're not constitutional. And Stu and I are the only candidates that 100% support abolishment. And like I said, we have not only supported it, but we're out there right along with you helping to fight for abolishment of Ohio property taxes.
Well, and it would beg for the other side of the fence to ask you this question: how do we make up that particular deficit? Because looking at it overall, there's a lot of bucks that float around
Absolutely.
Columbus. A lot of bucks. The question is how can we relieve these folks of property taxes, yet still maintain at the community level the services that we need?
That's a great question, Larry. And that is the number one question when we're out there campaigning from citizens. They want to know, is my schools going to suffer? Or my protection with law enforcement, is it going to suffer? First responders, is it going to suffer? No, it's not. Just from a little bit about me, again, I was the president of the school board here locally. I also was the secretary for the Black Caucus of Ohio School Board members. I started my businesses from scratch, and they have become very successful businesses over the years. And we have a very unique perspective on how we're going to doge Ohio and make sure that absolutely none of our first responders, none of our education system suffers because of our lack of property taxes here in Ohio. Moving forward with abolishing property taxes is going to do nothing but stimulate our economy here in Ohio. That's
Agreed.
all good things. And, just one thing that I like to talk to people about, we have 88 counties in Ohio, but we have over 600, I think it's like 611 school districts in Ohio. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Of course, some of the larger cities like Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus need more than one school district, but that is not something that we should definitely have with every county. So we're going to just common sense, everyday ideas is what is going to set us apart and make us be the best for Ohio.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of these places within Ohio. Your county, Morgan County, is probably one of the most poorest counties in the state. And the complaints that I'm sure you've heard the same way is any politician gets elected because he's in the big city. Rural folks have been shut away, all right, as far as a good balance within government, have been shut away from that. Is that something you can address?
Absolutely. When you have some of us folks from Appalachian, rural Ohio, just like J.D. Vance, we are making a difference. We have a unique perspective, and that's the same way with Stu and I. When we come into this, we have a unique way of looking at things. We have a unique way of challenging things. And with my campaign and as your next governor, rural areas will not be left out. Appalachia, Ohio will not be left out. We have a unique set of circumstances in Appalachia, Ohio, and those circumstances will be dealt with, and we will give those situations the attention that they desperately have needed for years, and we have been overlooked. So it's a great compromise. It's a great way to make sure that Ohio moves forward as a whole, not just the three C's, but as a whole.
Out damn standing. That's exactly right, too. Those guys can set up and fly to Paris like they did here in Springfield or something, fly to France and fully paid expense accounts, which they abuse over and over. We see it in the network, guys. You're not fooling anybody. This is for Mr. DeWine. There's no fooling the people of Ohio. They know exactly what's going on.
Yes, we do.
They know exactly what's going on. And it's time for a change.
Absolutely. And when we have true representation, Larry, that is what is going to make this all work and work well. Because we have never in the state of Ohio had true representation. It's either the billionaires scratching the backs of their billionaire buddies and family members, or it's a constant game of political musical chairs where we have one politician that literally is being put in a lot of different positions instead of electing fresh, new people with fresh, new ideas.
That's exactly right. So we'll get back to that in just a minute. I had a question for you about your views on partial birth abortions. This is very, very delicate. I know we've talked about it as we are all going to follow the law of Ohio, but what does your faith tell you?
Well, my faith tells me that it's beyond wrong. It's horrible. It's horrible. You know, my husband and I, we suffered for many years trying to stay pregnant. You know, we had one live birth, and that's our son Darian, who's active duty military. But it's horrible. It's absolutely terrible that we are in the modern day and still believe that it's okay to halfway pull a baby out of the womb and kill it before it's completely born. I mean, it's terrible. If we were doing this to puppies, the whole country would be in an outrage. But we are allowed to do this to babies, and it's terrible. It's absolutely hideous. It makes me sick, because as us women that have went through IVF or fertility issues, a baby is one of the most valuable things that you will ever have in your life. And for someone to just destroy a child like that is terrible. And, you know, like I said, I've had over 50 foster children that have come through my home. Some of them have only been with me for a day on a respite, and some of them have been with me for years. But all of us children that were unwanted, and I was an unwanted child, all of us children respect our lives and value our lives and will fight for our lives. But we need for people to stand up and fight for children that don't have a voice yet.
Okay. That makes me bring up a new member of your staff, Miss Michelle Brewer, who's going to be looking deeper into things that we've been talking about, legality and whatever, and she has an awesome story to tell. I will give a little excerpt. She's going to be interviewed by James from Empty Pockets podcast on Friday at 6 o'clock. So keep that on your calendar. That'll be Friday at 6 o'clock. This young lady is well versed in these particular types of problems. That's what I'll leave it at that, because I want you to meet her for yourself, because she's an awesome lady, without a doubt. She's my hero.
Yes.
You're my hero too.
Michelle is a beautiful soul, and you know, she was running for Senate, and she stepped down and came to be part of our campaign, and we're very, very blessed to have her. And her unique perspective, she is a survivor. She has been trafficked, and I'll let her tell her story.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a beautiful story, and it's it's going to have a beautiful ending as well, because
Yeah.
she is going to really just set waves in place in Ohio for making
Yeah.
sure that our children are safe, and that we have better scores when it comes to how we're handling trafficking and
Yes,
handling
ma'am.
the survivors.
It's very, very important.
Yes, it
All
is.
right, so okay, Heather, I'm gonna take a 30-minute cut here real quick.
Okay.
30-second cut here for just a few
Oh,
minutes.
I was wondering. I'm like 30 minutes. Oh.
Wait, no, 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 not even. But I got to do some rearranging. So if I look silly here, for let me get yourself a drink of water, go to the bathroom, anything you need to do, and I'll get this
Okay.
set up again. Okay. Hey,
All
how'd you
right.
like my
So
song? I wrote that song.
I did not hear a song at all, Larry.
No.
No, not at all.
Okay, we'll try as we go off, and then I'll find out if you can hear it or not. I want you to hear it. I
Okay.
wrote it. I'll be back.
Yep. All right. Sounds good.
30 seconds. All right, boss lady, you ready?
Yep, I sure am.
We'll rock and roll then. Welcome back to the second part of this 352-part series. Heather Hill as your Ohio governor. Yes, that's right, folks. That's right. I'll be right on her heels all the time. You know what she's doing. Listen, um, shift gears a little bit here and tell us how you feel about the gender issue. That's a sharp point that's dividing a lot of people, and I'm sure the Ohioans would like to know how you feel about that.
I, you know, I'm just a typical Ohioan. I believe that if you want to change your gender, it's your right. The problem that I have is when it crosses over into our public schools, when it crosses over into grooming of our children. Um, I just there has to be a point where it stops. I also
Yeah,
believe that you do not have the right to make me go along with what you believe. So if you believe that you're in the wrong body, or you believe that you should be a different gender, that is your belief. If you want to pretend like you're someone else, that's up to you. But under no circumstances should that be forced on myself or anyone else that doesn't believe the same way. You know, just the same way with gay rights. I have no problem at all with people that are homosexual, as long as it doesn't cross over into pushing that belief on me or my children.
that's right. That's I've always said. I had a brother was gay, died of an overdose. Just a strange world for me to begin with. But I asked him one time. I said, "Are you gay by choice or circumstance?" He wouldn't answer me.
Mm.
Because a lot of what the gay communities uphold is I am born this way. Well, if you're born that way, you're still one of God's children. Don't misunderstand me. But I don't believe that God wants you to take away anatomy to increase anatomy. It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense at all. So I just leave that one alone. I had to ask it, but I just leave that one alone because it makes me mad. Because I did have a family member, you know, that was in that lifestyle.
Well, thank you
And
for sharing your story, Larry.
appreciate it. appreciate it. This is my therapy time. See? So I could be doing 100 other things, like switching the TV remote, but I'm interviewing you. So that is cool. That is way cool. All right. Let me quit that and get up here. Aha, school choice. Another
Educational
issue.
choice.
Yes, just another left hammering point. It'll never work. It'll never work. What do you have
Well,
to say
it's
about it?
well, it's got to work because nobody cares more about a child's education than their parents.
That's
And
right.
under no circumstances, under my watch, will parents be left out of the classroom? Will parents be left out of the education of their child? And under no circumstances, under my watch, will children be subjected to grooming and unfair ideologies without parental consent.
There you go.
I do not believe that our classrooms is a place where we should have to be subjected to anything about sexuality. And that, and that's something that at a certain age in high school, they may want sex education, but at no point should it ever be done behind a parent's back. Never. One of the things you'll notice I speak a lot about is CPS reform. 100% believe that CPS does not have a right to come into your home and take your child because of your religious beliefs. And when we're Christians, we don't necessarily believe that in the transgender movement. And that is something that is okay. It is okay to be Americans and fight for what we believe in. And nobody should have a right to force those beliefs on us. So what's happening a lot in the state of Ohio is children are being subjected to losing their homes, losing their parents, because a parent does not believe in transgender ideologies, and that's not okay and it's not acceptable.
No, it won't be. That's still the majority speaks, but that's one thing it's not going to be. How about in sports? You're not forming sports either, are you?
Absolutely not. I have a daughter that is a college rugby player, and under no circumstances should men be able to be in women's sports. It doesn't matter if they're transgender. If they were born as a man, as a male, that should not be allowed. And it's just common sense. It's just common sense. If you could see my daughter when she's had to play transgender males, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, she is being flipped around like a rag doll, and she is one of the strongest rugby players in the state of Ohio.
That's
She
scary.
is one of the best. Not trying to brag here, but she's
That's
the
okay.
best.
That's okay. It's your
And
format too.
when she's playing against a male, you can definitely tell it. You can
Yeah.
definitely tell when you see her being flipped and thrown all around and concussions, and it's horrible. It is horrible, and it does not even come close to making common sense. I don't know how we got here. I really don't.
I really don't either. It's probably because, as usual, our conservative rhinos are sitting on their hands, which is what
Absolutely.
I want to get to you about. You and I talked about this once before about common sense being lacking within state government. I got to look some of it. Sure, that was prophetic because it sure is lousy to look at.
Yes, it
So,
is.
so that's why that there's so many people aggravated who, like me, uh, in the middle, so to speak, in the middle, but to do what they're doing under a blatant blanket of nothing absolutely makes me angry. It absolutely
Yes.
makes me angry. So, well, I'll get off of that rant for you. I won't pick on you on for that one. But you were a foster mother too, weren't you?
Yes, I
How many?
was.
50 children?
Over 50 kids, over 50 that we counted.
Yeah. Do you keep contact with any of them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
Most all of my kids that I had as teenagers,
uh-huh.
I keep contact with. Some of the younger ones, they're still in foster care and things, and we
Yeah.
don't do that. But if they reach out to me, then I'm always going to answer the phone for any of my kids.
Do you think the foster system is broke?
Absolutely.
Can you
Absolutely.
share a little bit, please?
Well, I mean, there's just so many things that we're going to have to do with the foster system and just revamping it. One of the things that makes me the most sad is I literally speak to families at least 2 or 3 times a week, families that have had their children taken from them for just reasons that make no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. So that's one of the things that we are definitely going to reform CPS. Another thing that bothers me a lot about CPS is our intake system. The way that our kids are brought into the foster care system. A lot of them sit for 2 or 3 days in a CPS office before they receive a placement, especially some of the kids that, it's harder to place teenagers. It's harder to place teenage boys. It's very hard. I would say over the last 10, 15 years, my husband and I said, give us the kids that you absolutely cannot place anywhere else. And those were all teenage boys. They were all teenage boys. The majority of them were African American teenage boys. But we need people to open their hearts and their homes up to these children.
We
And we
need to
need to
have
make sure we're
confidence in the system.
always
Yes.
we're always putting Ohio first.
Now, like I say, well, you just covered it. Ohio is first, and that's what the
Yes.
problem is. Now, I don't. I really hesitated, Heather, in asking you this question. If I need to edit, I will. But we need to talk about. You lost two foster children, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
Oh
I
my.
did.
That,
I lost two foster children. They were shot and killed by law enforcement officers, and that's how I got into this race. I had my first foster son was shot and killed, and at that time, people started contacting me, asking me if I would consider running. Um, we just took time to grieve, and we just said no. I've never thought about running for governor. I don't have any desire to run for governor. But then, almost exactly a year later, my foster daughter was shot and killed while she was 6 or 7 months pregnant. And I said, God, I hear you. I know that this is something that you're calling me to do, and I'm going to do it. Within just a few hours of her being killed, I had hundreds of messages. People were just asking me to speak out, asking me if I would consider running for governor. And after much prayer and consideration, my husband and I, we said yes. And we have a great relationship with law enforcement officers and military. We have a large family and friend group. In fact, Eric Finley, it just came on board this week. Well, I'm sorry, last week, as our senior law enforcement and public safety advisor.
yeah.
He was a chief of police here locally, and just a great asset to the campaign. What we're finding is when we're out talking to law enforcement officers, they feel like they don't have adequate training to deal with the mental illnesses in Ohio. And that's how I'm going to bridge the gap. I'm going to bridge the gap between law enforcement and our people with mental illnesses, because there has to be a way that we can keep people safe and still provide them with the services that they need. And
Yes.
that's what we're going to do. That is what we're going to do.
Well,
And acknowledging that we have a problem is the biggest part of it. A
that's the
lot of
first
our
step.
politicians refuse to even deal with this. And I know, when my first son was shot, I tried to contact every single politician that I could to try to just, let's sit down, let's figure this out. No one would talk to me about it.
Wow.
No one. So we're going to figure this out. One thing with Stu and I, we do not shy away from the big topics.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
is absolutely nothing you can ask me that I won't answer.
I understand that, and sometimes these things are probably tough on me, because you're my one of my bestest buddies, so I don't want to make you aggravated at me. Let's put it that way. But listen,
I'm not.
that points us to the Second Amendment. Conceal carry, things that the left says we don't need in our society. I don't know quite how they interpret the part where that we keep the guns to keep the government in line. It ain't vice versa. So if they want to take our guns away, well, I'm glad that's not going to happen in my generation. I hope we don't
It's
get that
not.
far left.
It is not going to happen under my watch. You are not going to find a candidate that's ever been a stronger Second Amendment supporter than I am. I literally own guns of every kind. I own ARs. I got a baby Sig. I call her baby Sig. For my 50th birthday. In fact, I am interviewing tonight with, I think it's Black Gun Owners of Ohio this evening
Okay.
at 8. But yes, I am 100% support our Second Amendment. I own Ohio Hunting Lodge. It's a small business that is rooted in our love for the outdoors and our belief in the Second Amendment. We own, like I said, we own arms of every kind, and we believe that it's your God-given right to protect yourself, your family, and your home. And as your governor, I will fight to defend those rights.
Cool. Very cool. I would be remiss in my duties if I did not ask you about the ongoing chaos, is the word I'll put to it, in Springfield, Ohio. A lot of folks
Yes,
are
sir.
upset. It's divided the community down the middle. I took a little more of an active role in my local city government, started to learn a few things myself. By no means am I any kind of an expert. But you have pro and you have against in this town. What that done, Heather, is just drive a wedge right dead down the middle of this community. Now, we have a mayor. His name's Bob Rue. He is pro-Haitian. I don't really like that he is, but that's his belief. That's his choice. That's what we're all about anyway. But getting involved in city government, I began to learn that this is a big machine. It's a real big machine. And you're not listening to the majority of the population. What we need here is a leader. What we need here is someone who can look at DeWine with his little lame duck session and slap him in the teeth once or twice and say, did you mind talking to me first? So could you give us your view on Springfield and what you think it holds for us in the future?
Well, one thing that I believe, just like with the data centers and with everything else that we're facing, no one has the right to force anything on people of a community. No one has a right to do that. And Governor DeWine, he did not take the Haitians to Bexley. He did not bring them and drop them off in his backyard. He brought them and dropped them off in Springfield. And the people of Springfield have spoken loud and clear. They are tired of everything that the Haitian population is bringing. With even down to their children not being safe because of their inability to drive safely and correctly. The resources that are being used up and making it to where it's hard for citizens there to be able to do just basic things. There's just so much, the gang activity and just, it's literally one thing after the other. And no one should have to face someone being dropped off in their home because these people, this is their home. This is their community. They are raising their families there. They are trying to live their best lives, and they don't want those people in their communities.
Okay.
And this is America. This is America. And it's not like they dropped off 100 or 200 people. This was how many thousands of people were dropped off, Larry?
18,000. County.
18,000 people
And
that
some states
don't
even higher
look
than
like
that.
you,
But
that don't act like you, that don't
no,
respect your religion, that don't respect your culture, your beliefs. 18,000 people in one city. That 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 blows my mind.
of a city of 57,000. Tell me how somebody's common sense wouldn't tell them, hey, maybe if I put 18,000 in 57,000, it might be too many. I mean,
Yeah.
common sense again. That same dirty word I keep talking about, common sense, should show up
And
in
you're
these
right. You're
situations.
absolutely right. The people of Springfield need a leader, and I believe that I'm that leader. I listen to them. I've been to Springfield. Woo, how many times, Larry, have you shown me around Springfield
We've
over the
we've
last
we've spent a
couple of
good amount of
years?
time. Yeah.
I've met with the commissioners. I've met with the mayors. I've met with just the everyday citizens there, and this is not going away. This is a situation where the citizens of Springfield, are unhappy. This is their home. This is their land, their right to make a decision on who is there and who is not. And and people want to say that it's racism. It's not racism. It's
Oh,
just the simple fact that people are tired of this group of people, or any group of people, 18,000 people being dropped into your community that don't share your culture, don't share your religion, don't
that's right.
speak your language,
And, and that gets to
don't
be a
speak your language.
and that gets to
I
be a
mean,
bigger. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk.
I mean, it's just, I just, I'm just at a disbelief of how these things are happening in America. How do
Yeah.
people not understand? Or do we not have the ability to have empathy towards another group? These people are trying to live their lives, raise their families, and there is 18,000 people put into their community
Yeah. No,
with
no
just
culture training, nothing.
no, nothing. The basic form of communication is not able to even be had with them because a lot of them don't speak our language.
Yes.
It's just the cultural divide. I mean, just everything. It just blows my mind. Just the same way with the data centers. They literally, under the cover of night, brought these data centers in and started building them and would not even tell the community what they were building until it was too late. And now we have to deal with the data centers that are using up our energy grid, that are using up our water supply, all of these things, not to mention the health risks that are going to come to our children and grandchildren.
Oh,
I
but
mean,
the
it's,
rhinos tell us it's going to be safe. Not happening.
but this is the thing. If it's going to be safe and if it's so wonderful, why was it brought in under deception?
Yep. There you
Why
go.
did they not let the people of the communities that they're bringing these data centers into? Why did they not let them vote and discuss and approve or deny access to their farmland,
Never,
to
never
their homes,
happened.
to their communities? It doesn't. And that is not the way that it will be under my watch. We will have transparency in our government, in our state house.
Well, can I say with reasonable certainty that Springfield and the issue that it has will be your top priority, along with abolishment of property
Absolutely.
taxes? Okay. I want to be
Absolutely.
able
And
to
this is
pass
one
that
thing,
word.
Springfield, I want Springfield to hear loud and clear. Larry Barnett is one of the most important, influential positions in our campaign. And it is happening in his backyard. And he will make sure that this is something that we keep in the front of our mind and the top of our priority list.
Yes. Well, we thank you for that, Heather, because my next question was, what would you say to the people of Springfield? And you just answered it. So,
Yeah.
Heather, other than this, there's a few other things, smaller questions here. We've answered most all of what the gist of your campaign is. Is there anything else you'd like to cover with us?
Well, are we closing out, Larry? Is that what we're doing?
I don't see any reason why not. We've had a great interview. It's been a great interview.
Okay.
This is going to go real good.
Well, To close out, I just want to talk about the things that are important to the Heather Hill for Ohio Governor campaign. First, making sure that Ohio and America are first in every aspect. We, of course, support abolishing property taxes. We also support no data centers in communities that do not want data centers. If there's a community that wants it, we'll support that. Deregulation efforts, releasing Ohio Energy. You know, my husband and I are proud owners of gas and oil rights. We have 2 farms. One's in Muskingum County, one's in Morgan. We also very much are pro-life and pro-family. We support educational choice. We support medical freedom. We also support reshoring our factories and CPS reform and protecting Ohio families. We believe that all government should have transparency. We believe in deporting criminals and securing our borders. We believe in cutting taxes, and we also believe that men should never be allowed in women's sports or women's locker rooms. We believe in supporting our farmers and protecting our farmland. We believe that Ohio should not be overrun by bioengineered foods. And we will always, always support the Epstein survivors and all survivors of human trafficking.
It's an issue that we'll get into later.
Yep. I want to thank you again, Larry, for letting me interview with you and giving me a voice. We are desperately needing volunteers and donations. I know, Larry, you have donated to our campaign for the last 2 years on a regular basis. And I want to thank you again for that. But we need donations. So if any of your listeners would like to make a donation or like to volunteer, please go to our website. It's fightlikehill.com, and it's right up here on our backdrop, but fightlikehill.com. That's HILL. So if you would have any questions or any concerns or anything like that, I am also the only person running for governor that gives out my private cell phone number. That number is on my website. Again, that's fightlikehill.com. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I take calls every night until midnight. That's my cutoff. So I give everyone a chance. If you're a working Ohioan and you're on afternoon shift or you're going to be going in for midnight shift, I give a good enough time that allows everybody to reach out to me. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you'd like to donate, if you'd like to help, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
We appreciate that. We certainly do. Go to Fight Like Hill. That's HILL.com. You can see everything that we have talked about, and this will be posted in a couple hours onto Rumble and YouTube. I couldn't get YouTube out there for a minute. But you'll find it very informative. And folks, here in Ohio, I know that I'm within my limits to say that people need to change. The question is Vivek Ramaswamy going to be the change?
No.
Or just another billionaire that's, using Ohio as a springboard for his own presidential aspirations?
That's right.
He's changed his positions on property taxes 3 different times. I sent the newest one over here a day or 2 ago. Is that what you want? Or you want Casey Do Nothing Putz? That's the only way I know how to pronounce his name. Anyway, Casey, we're coming after you, buddy. You got to know that. We're coming after you. But other than that, Mrs. Hill, thank you so much for your time. This was an awesome interview, and I had made up my mind I wanted to be a lot more in-depth and a lot more hard-hitting, so that when these last few weeks come around, you're not going to be surprised by it, because it's coming. Okay?
Yep. Absolutely. Thank
Love
you.
Bye-bye,
Love you
everybody.
too, Larry.